What's the worst thing your parents have ever caught you doing as a kid? 5-18YO, NSW. When I was 6, my best friend was a girl of the same age across the street. One day we both needed to pee really bad, so of course instead of going to the toilet we did it around the side of my house. She lost her balance and fell into my stream face first whilst she was still peeing as well. My mum walked out to hang the washing and saw it all. TLDR. 6-year-old me gave a golden shower to my best friend. My best friend gave my flaccid dong a handy when I was 4. No one ever caught us because we never knew what it was, and it just felt kinda weird and kinda good. Freaking a teddy bear at age 11. I got caught in 6th grade by my dad. I was jerking off to the Them song and opening sequence of Kim Possible. I used to watch TV and jerk off, not even really to what I was watching, just looking at it while jerking without realizing I was jerking off to it. My dad never caught me. In 5th grade we had to write a short story, 1-3 pages I think. Mine was 3, and make a diorama of a scene in the story. I made a story about a detective who finds an evil group of fish people. I don't remember what they were exactly, but I drew them with like fish tails and glowing blue eyes. And he defeats them but gets attacked by a ghost who takes his reward money. So I cut the tail off a broken big mouth Billy Bass and was going to glue it to one of my sister's baby dolls, from which I'd already removed the legs but hadn't glued the tail yet, and I decided I was going to put a white handkerchief over a Barbie for the ghost, but I wanted the string to be under the sheet, so I poked a small hole in the middle of the sheet that would be right above her head and was tying the string around the Barbie's neck. My mom walked in on me tying a string around a Barbie's neck while sitting next to a mutilated baby doll, a dismembered fishtail, and a kitchen knife. All I remember is my mom crying while my dad called the teacher hoping it was a real assignment and that I wasn't a sociopath. When I was 6 or 7, I still wouldn't wipe my own butt, so one day I needed to go poop and my dad was asleep on the couch in the living room. I tried to wake him up but he wouldn't wake, so I did what any normal kid would do. I shat on the floor and covered it with a rug. Needless to say, I got caught. When I was around 7 years old, I was getting into the phase of liking girls and it was almost uncontrollable. This all started because I walked in on my brother watching James Bond during an adult scene. In my little 7-year-old head I thought that was interesting and I like what I see. So the next day, I start to get these feelings. Frisky feelings I guess, and I instantly strip down naked. I start humping an office chair that rolls around, and my manly parts start feeling aroused. I never experienced something like that until then, and it felt good, so I continued to do it. As I'm doing this, my father is wondering what is rolling around upstairs and what all the commotion is. He thought I was jumping around or something ready to hurt myself. Boy was he wrong. My dad quickly opens the door to see his 7-year-old son humping an office chair experimenting arousal. His response: "Don't let me find you doing this again. Get dressed." We never have spoken about it ever till this day. I think he forgot, but I sure as heck haven't. TLDR. My dad walked in on my younger self humping an office chair. Parents don't forget those things. They remember it and make you think they forgot. Then when you bring a girlfriend over, they tell them all the crap like that to embarrass you. Be ready. It's probably a tie between being caught masturbating a few times, especially since one of the times I was bathing and propped my legs up so that the water ran between them and my father walked in, and taking a bath with my friend. I left for college at 17. My mom decided to be nice and reorganize my room while I was gone. The hidden box of toys my older ex-girlfriend had bought for me was not what she was expecting. I got a phone call from my sister laughing so hard she was crying. I wanted to die. I was so confused at first because I was thinking your girlfriend bought you real toys like children's toys, but a few seconds later I realized what you meant. Found my pee folder and went through it all laughing at me, with me there. Even more awkward, with 14-year-old me being in some pretty deviant stuff hentai. My pee folder is called system config and clicking on it brings up an error. You have to search within the folder to find it. I don't know if he actually saw anything because the room was dark and he wasn't wearing contacts or glasses, but my stepdad definitely caught me sucking my dong when I was like 13. It wasn't my parents, but it still fits the question. I was 17 and had a Peruvian GF. She lived with her grandma and her cousin. She lived in an apartment and shared a room with her grandma. So one day when no one was home, we started making out while watching a movie. After a while of this, we went into her room. We fricked for a while, and when we were finished, we laid there naked for a little. Now somehow during the fricking, we had moved to her grandma's bed. This was probably because her grandma's bed was bigger with more room for activities. Her grandma got home and didn't make any noise when she came in the apt. So, we were laying on her grandma's bed naked when her grandma walked in her room. All three of us screamed and her grandma started yelling at us in Spanish. I just kept saying Lo siento over and over. It was terrifying. Lo siento equals I'm sorry. Had to look that up. My family was gone, and I was playing. My sister had a fake flowers and straw hat off the wall, a decoration that harkens one back to the days of Southern belles and slave labor. I put it on. Feel the need to crap. Nobody's home, so I decide crap with the door open. Bad idea. My parents return. Somehow ninja creep into the house and find me like that. And click. They take the picture. They laugh. I am unable to close the door, immobilized by the turd log growing out from me. This picture exists in multiple photo albums. Where's the pick-up? My mom walked in on me and my boyfriend fricking in the reverse cowgirl position. She just stared at me and asked me if I checked the mail or not that day. Bonus. My boyfriend's mom walked in on us while we were fricking once and immediately made us sit down, still completely naked, and lectured us about fricking. See, I was 17. I had one of those bullet things with coke in it. Somehow convinced my mom that I stopped doing coke ages ago. IDK how this happens to you guys. I move out of my house for college in a week, and unless something happens in that time I'll have gone a solid 18 years without getting caught masturbating. My dad caught me sucking off my ex. Slurps and deep throating and all. Lol, that must have sucked. I am absolutely crap at puns. My mom found a stack of Playboys that I'd shoplifted from the bookstore in the back of my closet. I'm a girl. I'm mostly straight-ish. That was a really uncomfortable conversation. I was never caught in the act of watching pee, but my parents certainly found my browsing history. The day I had that talk was just the worst. I was about 12 or 13 and downstairs with my brother watching television when I was summoned to their room. I assumed it was something about school, because clearly they wanted some sort of serious chat with me. I asked if it was about school actually, and they kind of just looked at me seriously, asking me if there was anything I wanted to tell them. Still clueless at this point, so I said no. I can't remember how they broke it to me, but either way they went on to reveal that they knew I looked at pee on the computer. The worst part was when my dad started to speak about that Naruto show I watched, and the pee, hentai, though they didn't know the name for it, that I had been looking at. I still feel immensely awkward when one of my siblings talks about anime in front of my parents. Anyway, my mum was a lot more angry about it than my dad, kind of sitting at the back there asking things like who's Lucy Pinder. I don't know what kind of answer she expected really. Haha. Basically frozen with embarrassment and shame. I basically got told to stop. Never did. I just became smarter, and I think I was informed, may have been told later, that through my P exploits I had brought a virus onto the computer or something. Weird, because I didn't download anything. I didn't even watch videos at that point, only images. I guess I must have just gone onto some dodgy sites. My dad then also tried to make me feel a bit better, kind of telling me that it's alright and asking if other kids at school do it too. Probably trying to convince himself that's why his once innocent son was looking at cartoon boobies on the internet. Oh, they also revealed that they knew I had read this really nasty incest debauchery Naruto fanfiction. I denied that one the second they mentioned it had debauchery in it, and the second I saw that they really didn't like it, saying that I had simply accidentally clicked onto it. I didn't, guys. I'm into taboo crap. Shoot me. My mum really hated this one. She asked my sister how to make complaints to fanfiction.net to get the story banned, and a day or so later engaged me in conversation about it in the car, which basically ended very quickly with me reiterating again the lie that I didn't read it. Anyway, I've rambled. That's the worst thing they caught me doing. I posted this on my second rarely used account because I don't want siblings who know of my main account finding out this crap. Reddit can enjoy it though. At aged 15 I was always messing around on Photoshop. Nothing better than putting your friend's face on another friend, right? Anyway, me and my friends always used to mess with each other on it, and one day I was in the middle of creating a masterpiece. I was morphing one of my friend's faces to a punster fricking another punster with my other friend's face on it, then my third friend's face in the corner. However, just as I was adding the second face, with my face pressed against the computer screen, my dad walked in and just stood there. After about what felt like 5 minutes of him standing there, he walked out and we never mentioned it again. TLDR. Got caught photoshopping my friends' faces to a pea shoot as my dad walked in and never said a word about it. Still have not tried to explain it. It's not naughty per se, but once my mom walked in on me cooking down a bunch of lead wheel weights on the kitchen stove with one of her good pots. She startled me, and I dropped it onto the counter. 20 years later, she still has the burn mark to remind me every time I bring the grandkids to her house how I need to think before I act. Right around the time I was getting the hang of the whole potty training thing, I decided I'd pee in the wall heater. I knew that I probably shouldn't, but I'd never seen the grown-ups do it before. I really wanted to see what would happen. This became a recurring theme throughout my childhood, so I dropped my Huggies in front of them and let it rip. My dad couldn't stop laughing. My mom nearly murdered me, and 2 decades later I'm a scientist. Female here. Mother changed sheets and found the candle I had in my bed. I was a teen. Sigh. One time my mom found a tablespoon in the bathroom by the sink and she asked me about it as if I was doing something highly suspicious with the spoon. I tried to explain it to her that I was using it to scrape excess bacteria off of my tongue. I know it sounds weird, but it's true. Stealing my mom's Ambien to get high off of. That was an awkward day. I once took 2 Vicodin pills thinking it was melatonin, harmless, and helps you sleep. Thankfully, it was a day I went on a plane so I could go to sleep for the entire thing until it wore off. I felt like crap. I never got caught. I used to use my mum's phone to browse P because my iPod didn't have internet. I deleted history and everything. I wasn't too dumb. The thing is though, that her phone had a code lock on it, so I had to come up with some bull's reason why she needed to unlock it for me, i.e., can it listen to YouTube while I go to sleep, etc. So one night I'm lying there jacking my little 14-year-old Willy, and the phone dies. This is bad because even if I charge it, I still need Mumsy to unlock the phone. So I get some charge into it and go out to get her to unlock it. No sweetie, it's late. Give the phone back and go to sleep now. You fucking what? So I spent all night worrying that she'd turn on her phone to a video of Margarana taking it up the arse. Needless to say, breakfast was very quiet the next morning. She eventually confronted me about it, but she was pretty okay about it. TLDR. I got caught wanking when I set myself a time delay wank mine. When I was 11, I had a bottle of Jack in my room, because that was when I thought drinking was like the coolest thing you could do, and my dad found it in my nightstand and I had to convince him it was a bottle of pee, and I made a whole story, and my brother heard and told everyone I pee in bottles. I think that's even worse. My mom caught me masturbating when I was 12 or 13. That night she was having a party and she proceeded to tell everyone at the party about it. Yay, my mother was an immature B. Got B. I have 2 sisters. One is 13 months younger than me and the other is 8 years older. This took place when my younger sister and I were about 4 and 5. My parents went out for their anniversary and left my older sister to watch us until they got back, which was probably around midnight. Anyway, my little sister and I took literally everything out of the fridge. Ketchup, mayo, mustard, chocolate syrup. I mean everything. We then stripped naked. poured it all over the kitchen floor, and danced and rolled in it. My dad came home and was infuriated, rightfully so, and started yelling that we would never see another Christmas, Easter, or Halloween for the next 5 years. Yeah, we were awful children. Why? Ugh. When my sister went off to college, she asked me to hide a few things she left in her room that our ultra-Catholic parents wouldn't approve of. One was a VHS video that she supposedly confiscated from her boyfriend. I was 15, sheltered, and curious. I popped the clearly labeled 10XXX classics into the TV VCR combo in my room and watched it. Then I rewound and watched it again. Then I fast forwarded to the good parts and watched them over and over. And then one day there was a grinding sound. The tape was stuck. Eventually my dad noticed there was something wrong with my TV and offered to fix it. What could I say? He took my TV, and I got it back the next day with the tape removed. I never got the tape back and we never spoke of it. Oh, the shame though. This was just one of many incidents that cemented my status as the bad daughter. Probably smoking pot after I got back from a court hearing for possession of pot. Did you get arrested? I got caught cross-dressed and masturbating at 14. Was a weird week life. When I was 15, my mom caught me watching weird Japanese pee. I couldn't look at her in the eye ever since. Was dumb enough to torrent pee on shared computer before I built my own. We used it to watch movies and TV shows for dinner. So of course I got careless one day and left it downloading by mistake. Jenna Fricks Rocco has finished torrenting was pretty awkward to explain mid-dinner lol. I got a long lecture but all I really learned was get your own PCFFS. Definitely awkward. 3 of my friends and I were in the closet at age 11, lighting farts in our underwear. Extrapolation. I can't speak for Walter but the other 2 of us are actually straight. We were deathly afraid to get caught by mom, as we knew it would just be weird enough to be almost unexplainable. Since the farts weren't lighting through pants, we found more success lighting them in our underwear. Too much success and our giggling gave us away. Well, that and what was apparently a god-awful smell. I think we washed a lot of crappy canned chili down with soda to pull that stunt off. 3 of my friends and I were in the closet at age 11. Wait. The Obama incident. Got caught smoking weed in a church parking lot a block away from where Obama was giving a speech at a local college. It's brought up in almost every situation before I go out. Cuddling with my little sister under the blanket with her bra on the floor. Cuddling. Not my parents but my girlfriend's mom. Completely naked 69. There's a big story behind this one if anyone is interested. I would like the story if you do not mind. I got caught stealing money from my grandmother's purse when I was 12. Hats off to you if that's the worst thing you got caught doing, because either you're really well behaved or really good at not getting caught. Either way, hats off to you. Not sure if caught or awesome dad. So my bro was in my room, so when my GF came over we went to the living room. At one point during the movie my GF closed the doors and just sat on my dong and put a cover over us. While riding me my dad walks in, just asks me quick when are you free. I just calmly tell him around 5 PM. He said cool and leaves, closing the door behind him. He obviously knew FFS. Also her mom called her and she started to go rougher as she was on the phone. 5 PM. I am bulimic. It is much better now than it was back then. I am in recovery and doing well. When I look back I feel just embarrassed and disgusted by me. This disorder changes you into a whole new person and makes you do things you never considered possible. Apart from lying and stealing food, there was that one incident when my mum decided to send me into the hospital for a treatment. I was 14 at the time. Of course I tried to hide my disgusting behavior as much as possible. So after one of my huge binges I couldn't possibly walk downstairs to the bathroom next to my mother's room. Those binges would go on for hours and the vomiting binge process would normally take not just loads of money but also time. About 5 hours until I was too exhausted. The only option was to vomit somewhere in my room and store that stuff until I could go downstairs. Bad luck for me that my mum or her boyfriend were there 3 days in a row and I couldn't do anything to get rid of the stuff. I vomited in a huge bucket, normally used for cleaning, and also used a plastic bag which couldn't hold that acid, smelly mess very long before leaking. So all in all, my 14 years old me stored about 20 kilos of vomited food in my room over 3 days in a bucket and a leaking plastic bag. On my third day I had to leave to buy more binge supply. My mum used that opportunity to take a look in my room because she recognized a strong smell. Obviously she found that bucket and bag and was just anxious and disgusted. I guess some of my vomit was even a bit older as it tended to get moldy fast. Well, this was embarrassing. I don't know if you can grasp why it is that bad. It is kind of disarming and embarrassing. I tended to close my eyes and just try to forget to the stuff I was doing. No living human should know what lies behind that nice and perfect shell of my tiny body. I felt naked, humiliated. You are a beautiful person. Think of yourself that way. When I was in middle school, I had a friend named Lance that used to come over a lot when my mom was at work. One thing Lance liked to do was ask me if he could use the one computer we had in our house, in the living room, to look at P. I would always say no at first, but he would pry until I gave in. Well, one night I was at a basketball game at my future high school and someone came to get me to inform me that my mom was there and was looking for me. I went out to the lobby to see her tearing up. She told me she had found P on the family computer and knew I was watching it. She's very conservative and religious, so it was a big deal to her. Seeing her so worked up and trying to defuse the situation as quickly as possible, I blamed Lance. I'm not sure if she caught me, but I was fapping to Lolican. My mindset back then was I was young, so it was okay to fap to drawings of underage girls. Now I don't even get hard at that. I still have that mindset. When I was around 12-13 I discovered that I became very aroused by looking at pictures of naked old guys. So one day I was on the family computer looking at hot old men pictures. My dad came into the room to use the computer, so I closed the website I was on but didn't have time to delete the history. He was on the phone with my aunt. She had just caught my cousin looking at P on their computer, so she called my dad to find out how to block sites, search history, etc. I was sitting on the couch sweating bullets, pretending to watch TV but really freaking out, hoping he wouldn't see that I was some little perv looking at naked dudes his age or older. The inevitable happens. He finds a website I've been looking at devoted to the beauty of mature men. My heart is pounding. He asks me what the deal is. I lie and say I clicked a random pop-up ad not knowing what it was and it redirected me to that site. He told me he understood and was not going to tell mom because it would break her heart. Luckily that was all he saw and he never brought it up again. I think he was in denial that his son could not only be gay but be into older men. After I came out a few years ago we talked about it and laughed, so that's cool. But holy crap, that was horrifying for a 12-year-old me who couldn't handle my parents or peers knowing my dark secret. You must be the answer to the prayers of most Catholic priests. Growing pot in my attic. When I was young, my mom got very upset with my dad because he taught me to pee outside. My dad laughed and thought nothing of it. There's nothing wrong with peeing outside, of course. But he didn't laugh when I decided to poop all over the porch. If it's okay to pee outside, why not poop outside too? My dad used to flip me off saying go do that to your mom. I didn't know what it meant. My parents caught me jacking it and gave me one of the largest tirades I have ever experienced in my life, and they gave quite a lot. They were very Christian and insisted that I was going to heck. Scared me shitless. Frick them. I hate religious people like that. My parents never caught me doing anything bad really. I was always good at covering my tracks, but I remember one time something happened to my sister. So it's about 8 PM and I had just come home from hanging out with friends. I was around 17. I walk through the front door and no one is downstairs. So I figure everyone must be upstairs watching a movie or something, so I go running up the stairs taking two at a time. I open the door to the entertainment room and there is my sister sitting in a chair, her boyfriend hugging a pillow sitting in another chair with this terrified look on his face, and mom and dad sitting on the couch. My dad was you could see the crazy in his eyes. I stopped about 3 steps into the room, looked at everyone in the room and could feel the tension. No one said anything or even acknowledged my presence. I slowly backed out of the room, closed the door behind me and left the house. I wasn't going to be anywhere near that place the rest of the night. To this day I have no idea what happened, but crap, I remember the feeling of walking in the room. Her boyfriend came first and hit your dad. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.